All right, let's retweet some things first, and then we will. And then we will go live. Hold on 1 second. Faithful. All right. Boom. All right. Here we go. Now let me start the clock too. Let me start the clock as well for the bombs. Speaking of the bottom line bombs, on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, it's brought to you by Shady Rays. Go to shadyrays.com and use code SGPN for 50% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. And that's it, pretty much. And the merch store. I'll say the merch store as I'm rocking a man in the box. So anyway, let's start it. Let's start the show. Let's get it going. Welcome to the Bottom Line Bombs. I am CJ Sullivan, your host of I just said it, Bottom Line Bombs, the man in the box as well. I'm back here. It's Monday. After the Masters weekend, I was in Chicago. I'll tell you a little bit about that as well. We're gonna recap the Masters and what it was fun. It was good Masters, I guess. And Easter, a lot of things. I will give out some bottom line bombs for the NBA play-in friendly dress rehearsal tournament. That's fun. That starts tomorrow. Not the playoffs. The NBA makes sure. The NBA makes sure you're not allowed to call it the playoffs. It's a play-in, then it becomes playoffs. That's tomorrow. There's 4 games, so we'll get to that. Yeah, the golf matches. Let's get to that. And I'll do a man in the box, of course, at the end. I have a lot of man in the boxes to get to. I don't know. Things are piling up on me. Sorry, I'm a little frazzled. I'm always frazzled when I start the show. I'm never ready. I think I am. And I hit go. I go. Welcome, by the way, for people coming into the YouTube channel. Make sure you do subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit like and all that shit. People listening on the podcast, you probably already subscribed. If you're not, subscribe to it. 5-star review, the whole thing. I'll say that at the end too. Matter of fact, that's what the whole show is basically. It's telling you to like and subscribe me. I'm just kidding. Anyway, the Masters happened over the weekend after Easter. What a nice Sunday that was. Right? Finally, it rained all weekend at the Masters, Friday, Saturday. A lot of news and whatnots and people. So it was kind of weird. They would start it early, then they play early in the morning, which is fine. What am I going to watch? All 70 hours of golf? And then Sunday, the gentle sounds. The birds were chirping yesterday. Easter Sunday. What a nap that was. I love the more intense it gets, the better the nap for me. On a couch, just listening to the birds. They were really cranking them up, the producers, this time, weren't they? The bird noises down there in Augusta, Georgia. There's that famous Brian Regan bit. Famous. I say famous because I think any Brian Regan bit's famous because he's the best. If you listen to Brian Regan. One year, the Masters was, or the TV producers were caught piping in fake bird noises for ambiance. And the reason why they was caught because like bird experts recognized that the noise of the bird didn't fit with the migration, of where they were at. Like these birds wouldn't exist in Georgia. I mean, not to recreate Brian Regan's bit, but look it up if you haven't. It's hilarious. He just talks about that phone call that those producers must have gotten from these bird experts. Yeah, NBC, can I help you? Yeah, you can. Does this sound right to you? And they're like, yeah, certainly doesn't. Anyway, it goes on and on. It's Brian Regan at his best, heightening and being silly. He's great. So anyway, Jon Rahm won. The Spaniard, he beat the big bad LIV golfers of Brooks Koepka, Phil Mickelson, Patrick Reed. Tell you what, the bombs I gave out didn't do too great, obviously. We didn't have a winner. I'm kind of sick that I didn't take Jon Rahm at 10-1. He was like 4-1 a month ago. He was the best golfer on the planet by far a month ago. And then like he takes a couple weeks off to get ready for the Masters. We're like, he's slipping. Scotty Scheffler. The fuck are we thinking? Easy money, Jon Rahm. Easy to say that now, of course. But my mom matchup's not too great. We chopped a couple. We obviously didn't win best lefty fading Phil Mickelson. We faded Brooks Koepka too. All these LIV golfers. That's the problem. It's hard to calculate these stats with these LIV golfers when they're playing in, on the CW network and some roadhouse, some backyard alley, whatever, the Saudi Arabia League. And cause they're not in that kind of competition. They don't care. They're getting paid up front and they're playing and these stats mean nothing. So they have bad stats because they don't care. Then they came and they played the Masters. This is the first time that golf mattered for them all year. And they were great. A couple of them were, at least some weren't. And I was wrong. Brooks Koepka, Ryan Kramer just said he just brings that BDE. That's basically all he does. I only play Masters, and I'm a stud. I have a smoking hot wife who's also a bitch, and I'm a dick. We are that hot dick couple. Jenna Sims is her name. She's they're hot people. They're hot people who do well in life. So I hate them, but good for them. People were trying to make fun of Brooks. I mean, it's funny how they love to make fun of these LIV golfers. It's so funny that rivalry. I broke this down beforehand, but and actually when I put out a video of it, people are still complaining about these guys not admitting they're doing it for money. No, they did it. They said they did it to make the game better. Who cares what they said? Yeah, they lied. Stop being a child. They did it for the money. So does everyone else. Just admit it. Why? Why do you want them to admit it? Why do you care? You know it. You know the answer. How's it going to help you if they say, okay, fine, I did it for the money. I'm on the Saudi Arabia golf tour for the money. Okay. Do you think Rory McIlroy likes Cadillacs, or he likes the money Cadillacs give him? I'm sure he enjoys the Cadillacs. He enjoys a free Cadillac. Maybe he does. I don't fucking know. But the point is, these LIV golfers killed it. Phil Mickelson, who looked like a skeleton. What is going on? All of a sudden, he's come second place. So he buried us. But we won the no hole in one prop. How about that? And over balls in the 12th hole. Plenty of balls in there. Hit over 3.5 easy, almost before the weekend even started. And no hole in ones, plus 200. Ship that. So let me I didn't even calculate the numbers, but we'll get into it. What else do we talk about that? It's just the and then they're trying to make fun of Brooks Koepka because he was the leader for 54 holes, and he faltered Sunday. He had a 2-shot lead coming in, and he wound up losing by a couple shots. And that was not lost on the announcers. They're saying after 50, because in the LIV tour, they only play 54 holes, which is 3 days. So they're saying he got weary and tired, and that's how he faded off. And they're trying to joke around like that. Yeah, he came in second in the Masters, assholes, without playing any of your fucking tournaments all year. He just steps up, whipped his dick out on the first day, and buried the fucking ball all weekend. He came in second in the Masters. What a failure. It's like when I used to make fun of Greg Norman, which I still do, for being second place in the choke artist, and he has like $100 billion. Yeah, what a rough go around he's had, coming in second all that time. Anyway, the point is, Jon Rahm though killed it. He's the greatest. He's the greatest golfer there is. Funny story of that came out with Zach Ertz. That was a weird story. Jon Rahm went to Arizona State, so I guess he's friends with Zach Ertz somehow. And Zach Ertz, great tight end, former for the Eagles, Super Bowl hero for the Eagles. Now plays for Arizona Cardinals. Apparently, he texted him a fucking jinx the day of the Masters, trying to be a good luck buddy. That's why people are the worst. People don't understand. He texts him, hey, that first green looks like a walk in the park. The day of the first day of the Masters. Trying to say, hey, I bet he's just trying to impress his friend. This is my buddy. I want to text him. And then what's Rahm do? He 4-putts the first green for a double bogey. Thanks, Zach. Anyway. Yeah, so Jon Rahm won the Masters. Our bombs did not do great. We hit some top 20s though with those underdogs, Justin Rose, Patrick Reed. We hit we told Patrick Reed is an underdog. They were all fucking villains, man. It's amazing. I love this LIV versus PGA Tour fucking. They're not growing the game. Who's growing the game? First of all, they did. Now they did say they're not, the PGA's hiding their money, in which they are. And then as soon as this LIV tour started, all of a sudden these tournaments had more money, and all and PGA and the PGA commissioner, when they asked them, like, okay, well, where does money come from? Now they're doing it because they had to do it to compete with the Saudi Arabians. So like, okay, there's more money now. Well, where was this beforehand? Before you got your hand, we pushed your hand, whatever. Goes, oh, well, some corporate sponsors stepped up that did what's right. Really? That's not what corporate sponsors do. I'm familiar with companies and corporations. They're not generous entities. Yeah, they just knew what was right. General Electric, Valorho, that insurance company, they did the right thing. Really? Companies don't do the right thing. Matter of fact, they're known for doing the wrong thing all the time. That's anything that's self-serving. No, you were hiding the money, and now you stepped it up more because you had to, because of these evil Saudi Arabians. Anyway, point is, it was a great Masters, and there was birds chirping, fake or not. Sunday to Easter's Jon. All is right in the world. Thank God the LIV golfers didn't win. They do have a problem on their hands. So it did show how, like, there are a lot of good golfers not playing on the PGA Tour. So now it's kind of lowering the wins for the PGA guys. No, or not, whatever. Hey, bets are still bets. Anyway, let me do a quick read and we'll come back. And we will come back with a couple stories from the weekend, and then I'll get into these NBA play-in bombs that start tomorrow. These are perfect for tomorrow, and then the man in the box. So first, let me tell you about Shady Rays. You got to kick off the new year with new gear built to last. I got to kick off the new year with a different ad read. Kick off the new year. It's fucking April. There's a thing that just dropped there. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. It's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection to all eyewear. This is what I like about Shady Rays. This is true. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacement. So if you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they'll send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. You look good, you feel good. They've donated over 20 million meals to fight hunger with Feeding America. So yeah, there's an independent company doing the right thing. If you don't love them, exchange them for a new pair, return them for free within 30 days. No risk. Exclusively for listeners of the Bottom Line Bombs. You go to shadyrays.com. Use code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades, rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. That's the best deal of the new year. Do that. That's pretty. I do like that guarantee, because how many times you break sunglasses, especially anytime I got expensive sunglasses in my life, I would break or lose them. Always lose them. Cheap sunglasses, they last forever. But these are both. They're good sunglasses and pretty cheap. And I always wanted to break sunglasses as a bit. They're always a great bit. Like, you whip them off, you throw them down, you snap them over a nerd's face, break your nerd, you LIV golfer nerd, or PGA nerd. PGA guys are the nerds. That's the LIV golfers. The LIV golfers are just bullies doing it for the money. Just admit you're doing it for the money. Admit it. Tell the truth. You fucking child. Anyway, back enough of the Masters. I gotta get past that. Congratulations to Jon Rahm. Couple of I say that because I throw those clips out there to promote it, the Man in the Box clips, and then getting more comments now on it. One was angry about the LAV. Another was angry. I keep posting about the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. Sorry. Caitlin Reese, whatever. Fight, because that story just kept on going, and it still goes. the celebration thing. And the Iowa, the latest one was Iowa LSU, and the coded language media uses. So I said Dilbert rooting for Iowa. And the root.com covering LSU. Because the media didn't want to say black versus white, so they used a different language. Anyway, but it was funny. Over the weekend of the UFC fight, Israel Adesanya, that shows a difference between ladies basketball, the outrage over the women's basketball celebration of Michael. This is disgusting. This black woman, dude, poor, taunting a poor white girl. Meanwhile, the UFC, this guy, Israel, yeah. He knocks the fucker out. He does this celebration, the bow and arrow at him. While this dude's knocked out, goes over to his son and pantomimes falling asleep. Celebration to his kid with his dad knocked out in the ring. It was amazing. We're all like, yes, that's the best. Because it's UFC. Who gives a fuck? They're savages. We know that. So we enjoy it and we support it. I support it for sure. And apparently they looked it up. So what? I like how brazen they are about it, and they don't make it up. The women make up their stories. The disrespect, none of that shit happened. You're making up your own things, but whatever. We'll let it go because you're a 19-year-old girl. But the UFC, the men's like, yeah, when I got knocked out by him, which is true, his kid was in there mimicking me getting knocked out, falling asleep, and I was like, who the fuck is this kid? I'm gonna beat your ass if you're dead and you don't. So he kept petty revenge on his opponent's son, which I love. I mean, torture these kids. People are like, you don't do that to a kid. Yes, you do. What's with all these protecting of the kids? This is what these kids need. You can't just let them run around willy-nilly, teaching them. You got to teach them. If anything, you're lucky you didn't knock him out. He didn't knock him out. Yeah, he didn't knock him out. He just made fun of his dad almost dying of a brain injury. So what? You don't do that to a child. Yes, you do. You do those things to a child. You teach them. It takes a village. And sometimes that village has to knock out a brat's father in an octagon in front of a bloodlusty crowd on a pay-per-view event. Those UFC events. I mean, I didn't watch much. I had like I said, I was in Chicago this weekend doing great shows with TJ Miller at the Improv out there in Schaumburg and then in the city. So I'll talk about that a little later. But some of the hot stuff. This is UFC fight. I watch because I bet on them occasionally. I didn't give out any bombs. I will in the future. But to go live to those things, I don't know if I would do that. There is such a monster energy drink feel to those events. Holy shit, dude. It's just black t-shirts and energy drinks and aggressive fonts. And people just fucking, I mean, just the testosterone alone. And that Jorge Masvidal guy, the fucking guy from Miami. What a piece of shit he was. Donald Trump was there, and he's what a crew. It was Donald Trump, Dana White, Kid Rock. Tyson was there. They throw Tyson in there for credibility, which I get. They're all friends. Like when people make fun of Tom Brady, like they're trying to rip on Tom Brady for being friends with Donald Trump, and like they try to make him admit it, and he wouldn't admit it later on because of the mob that'll rip him apart. But what do you think of course these guys are friends with Trump. He's a fucking billionaire who protects rich people. What? They're rich. They should be. Anyway. But then Masvidal does, like when they grab that microphone, when you let these concussed savages grab a microphone in an octagon, he's starting to "Let's go Brandon" chant to these meatheads. Let's go Brandon. First of all, he calls out Trump the greatest president in the history of the world, right there, Trump. People are cheering or whatever. I mean, you're cheering because whatever, he's a fighter and he might run loose into the crowd and kill you. So like, okay, if that's what you say there. The "Let's Go Brandon" chants. Oh God. Listen, I'll admit, when "Let's Go Brandon" started, I thought it's pretty funny. It's a good. The conservative right side rarely has good humor. That's a good one. They had a good bit there. If you don't know the origin of it, it means fuck Joe Biden. was during a NASCAR event where a guy was Brandon, whatever won, and they were saying fuck Joe Biden, and the announcer was like, well, they're saying let's go Brandon. So that became a thing. So you chant let's go Brandon is code for F Joe Biden. This meathead Maswell just goes, let's take that you know who. Let's go Brandon, motherfucker, out of power. That's what he says. You already said the curse. You say let's go Brandon so you don't curse. So it gets through on TV, and then he curses right after it, you idiot. You just combine the... Oh, man. Which makes me think he probably doesn't even know what it stands for anyway. Anyway, the point is, that was pretty fun. Pretty fun UFC of that knockout. The knockout. To celebrate. I'm all for mocking, celebrating, and taunting children and traumatizing them with fire. But you don't, just because a kid does, I mean, you do it. No, it means you do it back even worse. Make him cry. Make that kid cry. Let's go, Brandon. Anyway, that's that's that for the... Oh, man, what am I getting into with the UFC? All right, we got to get into some NBA play-in bottom line bombs. Let's get into it. Man, that's long. I had to stop that. Jesus, please. That was the greatest song. That was the best NBA theme song, of course. Peter Tosh. Peter Tosh. Just kidding. Not the reggae star. Tash did it. Tim Robbins, hilarious comedian. He was on Saturday Night for like 1 year. He was a great writer for them too before he did this amazing show on Netflix. I think he should leave. But he has a great sketch with Sudeikis on there. With if there's lyrics to that song where he's like basketball, whatever. He keeps going. Look that up on YouTube. A lot of my show is telling you to look up other things and then watch that. Watch Brian Regan, watch Tim Robinson, watch all the show, The Detroiters. A hilarious show with Sam Richardson. Amazing show. Anyway, so the play-in tournament starts tomorrow, Tuesday, the 11th. Not the playoffs yet. If you don't know, let me explain to you really quick setup. This started during the bubble, during COVID, to get more teams in. And then they kept it because they're the NBA. They don't give a shit about traditions, fairness, or anything. They just want as much money and entertainment as possible. They are unequivocally and unapologetically a TV show, which I kind of respect for them. So 10 teams now make this freaking playoffs in each conference. That's 20 teams, and only 5 each don't make it. It's impossible to not make the playoffs unless you are actively tanking or you just openly decide, you know what, fuck it, like Dallas did. I kind of like what the Mavericks did too. People are furious at the Mavericks. They were eligible to still make the playoffs with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, and they benched everyone in the game they had to win. Played Luka for a quarter so he could hit his prop. Scored 13, and they benched him after the first quarter. Amazing. And then they cranked up 3 threes at the end with like 20 seconds to go, down 3. Just cranking up threes like it was a like 2 for $1 at the fucking circus or something. Circus. Fairgrounds. State Fair. And then there's a shot of Mark Cuban like laughing and smiling, happy. Thank God they lost. The reason why they lost and tanked was because they have a lottery pick, draft pick that's protected if they'd made the lottery, but it would not be if they made the playoffs. First round pick. So they decided, fuck it, let's just get in the lottery, protect our pick, and see what happens. Which you can't blame them for taking advantage of the system. You have to blame Silver, the NBA commissioner. I mean, this year has been a joke in the regular season as far as players not playing and whatever. And I understand the playoffs is the only thing that matters. And I do like Dallas admitting that who cares, even if we do make the playoffs, what are we going to do in there? We have Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic. We have two players on antidepressants. We got a fucking therapy session. It's amazing how they're trying to protect Kyrie too. And I get it. I mean, you can't just say Kyrie's the reason why they didn't make the playoffs. His numbers were fine. Luka's numbers were fine too, but then they're like, well, Lucas, I don't know. Lucas has got to do it. That's what Stephen A. Smith was saying, because Stephen A. Smith got chastised for making it personal with Kyrie's, who goes, Kyrie's numbers are great. Luka's numbers, I can't calculate, but he's still got to get it done. Well, what? How can you argue numbers for one and then not for the other? Whatever. Not to get into Stephen A. The point is, the Mavericks are like, what? The Mavericks said what we all say when we go to bed at night. What is the point? What's the point of any of this? Making the playoffs. Why? Why make the playoffs? It's just going to lead to misery. They're working through things. Let them do their therapy session. We don't want them in there anyway, because they would have been fun. This play-in tournament, it's amazing that they kept, and I get why they kept it. Like, what? Who cares? More teams, but they don't want OKC and these idiots in there. Which sure they are in there, but now we got they wanted the Mavericks because they want to do anything they can to get stars to be playing. The first round, I mean, these playoffs are so long. It's gonna be like 2 months. It used to be like best of 3, best of 5, then best of 7 when you get to the conference finals. Now it's all best of 7. Not the play-in. The play-in's one and done. So that's kind of fun. And that's the reason why it's fun, because there's something on the line, and there's nothing on the line even in the NBA playoffs, because the series are so long. The best team always usually wins out because it's best of 7, which they changed, by the way. The NBA changed mid-season. You want to know when the first round became best of 7? It happened like in February. The 1 year the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq were going to be an 8 seed or something because they were hurt. So they just changed it to make sure they got as many games as possible. Like, fuck it. Who cares? Best of 7 starting now. Did the Lakers lose again? Best of 9. Best of 11? More Kobe and Shaq. Anyway, so the NBA does not care, which is amazing. They have to change some of this. I could get into the whole load management shit, but that's a whole nother episode. I got to get going with these bombs. This play-in tournament, though, it's a joke. The whole bubble thing is a joke. What? Who cares? At least we'll get these games. That'll be more fun. So the 7 and 8 are not quite in the playoffs, which is a little rare. They play the 9-10 are the 2 additional. So the 9. If you're a 7 or 8 seed, you have to lose twice to not make the playoffs. That's what it is. So 7 and 8 are Lakers, T-Wolves, and Atlanta, Miami in the East. They play each other, and the winner obviously goes on to be the 7 seed. The loser plays the winner of the 9-10, which is OKC, New Orleans, and Chicago, Toronto. So it's a little mini tournament, 2-day thing. So single elimination, if you're single elimination for the 9-10, double elimination for the 7-8. It's as simple as I could put it. And it's not simple, but it doesn't matter. None of this matters. None of this absolutely matters. I'll get into that with, you know what? Let me get to this ad read real quick, and then I'll come back. Then I'll come back to this. I can't. If you guys could hear what goes on in my mind, boy, that's a show too. But I gotta get this quick. I gotta right now. I'm doing it again with the ad read thing. I gotta stop saying the word ad read. I'm supposed to say it naturally. Like this is like part of my conversation, part of my show. Like I'm breaking down the Laker game, and then I go, and we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, my favorite place in the world. It's a great place to get down on fantasy and player props all year long. It has your favorite NBA, NHL, NBA, MLB daily games. They're already doing best ball drafts for the 2023 NFL season. That's exciting. So head over to UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. And that should be it. Also, thank you for watching live on YouTube. Make sure to smash the subscribe and all that shit, even though nobody is watching. It doesn't matter. Oh, did I just erase the clock? I think I did. Anyway, all right, we're back. Let's bring it back with a little bit of a theme song. Or I can hit that all day. Oh, I didn't even do this for this.
700 billion and $1,300,000,000,000.
I could have done that during the UFC talk. All right, let's get into those 4 games right now. The play-in games, which are Tuesday, April 11th. I'll start off with the Minnesota Laker game because that's the funniest game. And that was the big story yesterday. The T-Wolves are an absolute disaster right now, and they're playing the Lakers. Everyone is just I wanted to fade the Lakers, but I can't do it in this game. But I will do it next round or whenever, as soon as I can. Because people are just assuming the Lakers are going to and there is a path for them to do it, but there's a path to get to the finals. They're a third favorite in the West. It goes like Phoenix, Golden State, maybe Denver then, and then the Lakers, who aren't even in the playoffs yet. That's how much people love the Lakers, and they're so obnoxious. They're the Yankees of the West Coast for NBA, and the Laker fans are so obnoxious. They fly around with these flags. Oh my God! And they're delusional. This team is not very good. They're finally playing okay. They finally have some shooters, Vanderbilt and Austin Reeves, and like whatever. If AD's healthy, this LeBron Laker team stinks. They've stunk for 4 years. They're hanging their hat on they won the title in the bubble, which is a joke of a title. It's an absolute joke that they call that an NBA title. And I get it. People say, well, everyone had the same rules. Yeah, they did have the same rules. And I'm not saying they didn't win. They won that tournament in a bubble, whatever that was, but it wasn't an NBA title. You don't get to take 4 months off and then play a intramural fucking like summer league tournament in a bubble. You think Anthony Davis would have been healthy? Whatever. Good for them. They won it. Nowhere. That's the thing where I hate these COVID. And then the Dodgers won their only World Series in a 60-game regular season. Absurd thing. Yeah, Clayton Kershaw also would have been healthy. It's just not the same thing. I'm not saying they didn't win it and everyone else didn't have the same rules or whatever, but like you can't call it a World Series or an NBA championship because that's not what it was. It was something completely different. And the only reason why they call it that is because LA teams won it. If any other team won it, LA especially would be saying how it's not real. If one of their rivals won, like San Francisco, would they be like, that's not real? Because LA's are obnoxious assholes. I know. I'm one of them now. Anyway, Lakers play the Timberwolves. -7 is the line. That's a big number for these playing games, but the Timberwolves are already saying they don't want any part of this game, which is kind of great. How many annoying announcers are going to say the Lakers were actually Minnesota before? Nobody cares. That's why they are called the Lakes. 70,000 lakes or 10,000 lakes. 10,000 lakes in Minnesota. Anyway, Rudy Gobert yesterday was a big story. He threw a punch at his teammate Kyle Anderson on the bench in the huddle. And they are not letting him travel for this game. He's not going to play. I cannot believe they're doing this. I mean, I can believe it, but there was no need to suspend him. He got in a fight. They show it. So they're mad at everyone hates Rudy Gobert. And the Timberwolves made the worst trade, one of the worst trades in the history of NBA for trading for him. They gave him like 4 first-round picks, all this shit. It made no sense. They already have Karl Anthony Towns. They want to do like these Twin Tower things. First of all, they both hate each other. Everyone hates Rudy Gobert. People hate him in Utah. People hate him here. He's French. That just adds to it. Gobert. Although the Stifle Tower is a good nickname for a guy who blocks shots. Anyway, he's just not that modern basketball, that center guy. And you need him for this game versus Anthony Davis. So that's what's hilarious. But the reason why you can tell no one likes him, look at that punch yesterday. It wasn't even a crazy punch. He lunged after him and hits him. But Kyle Anderson calls him a bitch a couple times, which is fighting words, especially in the NBA, if you know what I mean. And Gobert throws a punch. And everyone goes to Anderson's fault. Everyone just starts attacking Gobert. Like, get the fuck, what the fuck you doing, bitch? He's allowed to call you a bitch. So there you can tell that everyone just hates him. So he kicks out. He has to tweet an apology. And now they're not letting him to travel. Draymond Green knocked fucking Jordan Poole out cold on video, humiliated him. They didn't suspend him for any games. Like, take a couple days of training camp off. That's about it. Come on back. Because they like Draymond Green. Everyone likes Draymond Green. He's funny. He'll kill you, but he's funny. And, it's like, all right, whatever. You knocked him out. Come on back, Draymond. We know. We know you not to get in your face. That's for sure. Rudy Gobert shoves a guy, and he's not going to play. He's the most important player they have. Well, as far as the management is concerned, he's not as good as Karl-Anthony Towns. And you got Jalen McDaniels. He punched a wall and broke his hand. What? Like, these people just want out of this game. The Timberwolves want out. They're a mess. Which is funny. They were a mess all year because of Gobert. And then they were kind of playing great. Not great. They played better. And then Reed got hurt. And then now they're like back to now that the focus got back on them, they're like, oh God, we can't do this. So the only thing that shocks me is how they unanimously said Gobert can't play for LA, that they might rally around him not being there, but they hate him. And it's amazing. And they're stuck with him. This is one of the worst trades ever. These poor T-Wolves. 10,000 lakes. What does Gobert do? Why is he so hated? It always amazes me. Like these players that have reputations that all the players hate. Like Jeff George was a quarterback who was an amazing arm. And he would go from team to team because people hated him. Some players said they liked him, but coaches would hate him. Like, what does he do? What could he possibly do in these leagues that he hate him? Does he just fucking hit on people's wives? What goes on? And Rudy Gobert, remember he did that famous thing during COVID where he didn't believe COVID and he coughed on all the microphones as a gag, and then we all blamed him like he was patient zero, even though because then everyone got COVID the next day. It was Gobert's fault. Just blaming him for a fucking epidemic. Anyway, so this T-Wolves team is a complete disaster, and they're going to lose to this Lakers game. And the Lakers are going to have a party. They're going to have this is their LA party, and this is the one them beating Utah last night. Utah team that completely tanked too, that played better than they should have. And the Lakers, they love feeling themselves against inferior opponents, and that's exactly what this is going to be. So we're going to take the Lakers -7 to have an LA show against a team that can't not wait to go home and get the hell out of here. LA -7. Bomb it. Punching a wall. How do you not know not to punch a brick wall? That's baseball player shit, Jalen McDaniels. What are you doing? All right, the second game tomorrow. So it's 2 games Tuesday, 2 games Wednesday. I'll break down all 4. Because even Wednesday's bombs, which I do every day. By the way, noon Pacific. Join me live. Monday and Wednesday live. I broadcast this on YouTube. YouTube Bottom Line Bombs, SGPN. Go on that page and subscribe to it. That way you'll know when I do these live broadcasts. Monday and Wednesday noon. You can comment and help along the show. Or you can just listen to the podcast. That's why I like to do these games in advance. And on Wednesday, I'll do series prices and then the full NBA playoffs. We'll have a clear picture of those bombs. Anyway, second game is Atlanta, Miami. Another team I hate. Minnesota, I hate. And Atlanta, I hate. They fired their coach, Nate McMillan, because they couldn't get along with Trae Young. Trae Young couldn't get along. Trae Young is such a fucking. He's the classic. This new generation of basketball. If TikTok was a basketball player, that'd be Trae Young. They just jack threes from midcourt. They try to get fouls. There was a highlight of them last night. It was just tied up for Philly. They were like favored by 15 because Philly wasn't playing anyone. They still lost in overtime. Final shot, and Trae Young is just dribbling, 12-second dribble, and he just dribbles out the clock. Doesn't get a shot off, tries to take a foul. No one's like, yeah, come on, just shoot the ball. He doesn't shoot it because he has no awareness, because he doesn't give a fuck. So they're going to play Miami. Line's 4.5. These are games that Miami wins. Jimmy Butler's not going to lose this game. Jimmy Butler. Now, he's a guy you don't want to fuck with during the playoffs. He's a real guy you don't want to fuck with. Rudy Gobert threw a punch at Jimmy Butler. There'd be problems. Jimmy Butler just has that universal, just don't fuck with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is if Draymond Green was good at basketball. Or scoring basketball. That's who that is. Love Jimmy Butler. When Jimmy Butler was in Chicago and I was in Chicago, I saw him pull up to I was outside smoking a cigarette at a bar, and he pulled up in his new truck, brand new truck, rims and everything. Very expensive. He gets out. He's going to the place next door. And I go, hey, Jimmy, look at that. Jimmy Butler, come. He was a free agent. I'm signing with Chicago. Hey, And I noticed there's no rear view mirrors on his truck. It's a true story. I go, Jimmy, I love your truck. How come there's no rear view mirrors, buddy? And he goes, oh, that's because I never look back. Interesting. I don't know if that's street legal, but okay. Never look back. All right, Jimmy. All right, you go get him, Jimmy. So he's an odd guy. Is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, Jimmy Butler, Trae Young. Now they have Quinn Snyder as a coach in Atlanta. He's like the substitute teacher. He doesn't know what to do with Trae Young and these kids. He can't discipline them. No one's listening to him. In the offseason, he'll be fine. He'll get it. And Atlanta knows they don't want to beat Miami too. They like beating up on bad teams too. They're a 500 team. They traded. They're just a mess. So -4.5. See, these playoff games do get tight because it is one and done. Although the 7 and 8 ones, they know they can lose twice. So I think they want to pick and choose. That's why Minnesota's definitely already chosen they're not going to beat the Lakers. In Atlanta, they don't want any parts of Miami. Why would they? So we're going to give out Miami -4.5 as our second play-in bomb. Jimmy Butler never looks back. No rearview mirrors. All right. Now let's get to the fun other games. What are the other games? We have Oklahoma City, New Orleans, Chicago, Toronto. That is the Wednesday games. Those are the 9-10s. Is that right? Oh, no, they're all Thursday. I'm not sure how they just works. Because then they have to play, right? Because then they play the Thursday one. Then they don't have a day off. That's how it goes. It goes 2 tomorrow, 2 Wednesday, and then 1 on Thursday. Or Friday. Doesn't matter. Thursday. Then playoffs start Saturday. Let's get into Chicago and Toronto. 5.5. Toronto in Toronto. +185 for the Bulls. I'm going Chicago. So these games. So I went with 2 favorites in the first one. Now we got these games are the ones that are going to be tighter. This is 7-8. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is 7-8. Or this is 9-10. This is 9-10. I'm sorry. Atlanta, Miami, 7-8. This is 9-10. The Bulls got hot kind of towards the end just to get rallied for the playoff. They've been a dumb team all year. They've been terrible. Then they got hot to get into it. But that's what these Bulls do. And they got people chattering out there. Zach LaVine, not bad. They will play tough. See, these games are usually tough. I like the 9-10s. I like to take the points because this really is win or go home, do or die, like college basketball. If you like, the bracket style, this is what it is. So 5.5, we're going to take a lot with the Bulls. I was just in Chicago, like I said. We did a lot of fun thing. We did the basic tourism stuff. I did the architectural tour in Chicago. This is my breakdown of the Raptors Bulls. The architectural tour is like the one thing when you live in Chicago, you got friends from out of town or family, you want to do a tourist thing, you do that because it's actually kind of cool. You're in a boat, you go down the Chicago River and you're looking up at all the buildings and it's great. Chicago River, the whole river scene downtown there is kind of new. When I was back there, it wasn't really great down there. It'd be pretty lawless of homeless people and Lower Wacker and things like that. But now it's nice. There's restaurants and all these things. And so what that does, that's added to the architectural tours and more tours. So there's more competition. So there's good ones and bad ones. And we got a quote unquote bad one. It was cheaper, but our tour guide was great. He was an old Chicago guy, which I love those guys. They're just like mildly racist or xenophobic, but they're more just Chicago-y. And instead of really pointing out the buildings and knowing what architect did, Frank Lloyd Wright and things like that, he would just point out real estate that it's too expensive to live in and why every neighborhood's getting gentrified. So he was awesome. He was incredible. I loved him. He starts out, he's like, he gets everyone's names, where you're from, blah, blah, blah. He does that beforehand as his magic trick. Where you from? Ohio? Germany? Great. And then he does a tour and he's like, Then he whips it out of memory. That's just like his one trick. So these guys are from Germany, Dirk Nowitzki, and these guys are from England, la-di-da, royal old England with the jolly old queen. But don't worry, folks. This boat isn't full of all immigrants. That's what he said. We got people from Ohio, too, and Kansas City. Phew, thank God. Thank God it's not all immigrants. Thank God he said that. Also, that's what he thinks immigrants are, England and Germany. This guy's from Kansas City. He's got a Chiefs logo on his shirt. He knows how to make us Chicagoans feel bad because we could have Patrick Mahomes if it wasn't for the idiots running this thing. What? They felt otherwise. Like, what about the Sears Tower? Who built that? I don't know. But I tell you what I do know. Don't go to that French restaurant unless that's your thing. You need 3 credit cards just to order, and then a 4th when your meal comes. Like, what? Oh, in this building, forget about it. You can't live there. Need your credit cards there. It's $800K just for a 1-bedroom. I mean, who lives there? Who's going to do that? Not in Hyde Park, that's for sure. $5 million a condo went for in that bill. Can you believe that? This is TOR the whole time. Sammy Sosa had a unit in there. This is true. He goes, this is 100% true. He goes, Sammy Sosa had 2 units in that building, one to sleep in and one for his bats, which got magical powers from his alterations. And then he hightailed over to the Dominican Republic with all of his U.S. dollars. Not a bad deal, if you ask me. What was that, tour guide? What about the... What about the Tribune building? I don't know, but this guy Sosa stole my American money. The way Chicagoans disrespect Sammy Sosa is insulting too. He fucking saved that team. They used to complain about Sosa even before the steroids and shit came out. They used to complain about his defense. I remember being at a game at Wrigley, like back when you could just walk in the 5th inning or whatever. Who cares? And the guy's like, he takes bad angles on fly balls. Like, bad angles? Who gives a shit? He averages 65 home runs and 120 RBIs. He averages literally record-setting numbers. Averages. In the last 4 years, he averages like 60 home runs. Sometimes he one-hops those throws into the plate. That was just pure racism. Anyway. With that said, Toronto laying 5.5. Get the hell out of here. I don't like that at all. They're a veteran team. This will be an ugly game. 214 is a low total because this will be 2 ugly games. But I like the Bulls. I think the Bulls have a chance to win this game outright. So definitely going to take the 5.5 and possibly sprinkle a little bit on the 185 money line. Why not? Chicago Bulls, Sammy Sosa and his magical altered bats. Not a bad deal if you ask me. La-ti-da, damn it. So much other. Chicago was a great time. We got a lot of the food, and it just gets you, Chicago. It just doesn't stop. The food and the bars. Here's the thing. I stopped drinking 2.5 years ago. It's coming up in 3 years in the summer. But anyway, I stopped drinking, and I don't regret that, especially living in Los Angeles. It's easy to not drink in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a terrible drinking city. First of all, you got to drive everywhere. And when you do drink and go somewhere, it's not fun. People don't know how to, people don't drink like they drink everywhere else. They drink like for a look. If you go to a bar and you buy a third drink, the bartender judges you. Like, really? Again? Like, yeah, this isn't how this works. I give you money and you give me a fucking drink back. Anyway, the point is, and when I go to places, usually, like, do you miss it? Like, usually I miss it when I go to like Toledo or some, if I'm doing a weekend there or something, because it's like nothing to do and it's freezing. I get that. But it's never because I miss it because of fun. Drinking. Drinking actually wasn't fun for me. Drinking was just pure dealing with pain. Anyways, but Chicago, you miss it. Chicago is a fun drinking town. It's an alcoholic city by far. Bars are open till 5, but bars are open in the morning. Bars are open during the day, and they're always packed. There's always people in these bars Not packed. You can find dive bars and shit. And I always had my spots where there wasn't a lot of great people, a lot of people. But they're all having fun, always. It can be 4 p.m. You're walking down the street, there's a bar in every corner, and it looks like they won the World Series in every single bar. They're singing, they're yelling at you to come on in, get in here. Here's a shot of my Lord, you son of a bitch. It's wild. And he can get away from you. And it did for me for 15 years. But point is, I had a great weekend there. I didn't drink, but I just ate everything. I wasn't down instead. But yeah, what a town Chicago is. Especially now, I came there. I caught the spring. It's not to the point where I don't even tell people I'm there. I mean, they find out I'm there. That's fine. I'll meet up with you, but I can't make those announcements anymore. I can't make the rounds. It'll wear you out. Even when I'm sober, it wears you out. It's the greatest city in the world, except for the weather. Like they said, if the weather was good, everyone would live there. Luckily, I caught it during spring. It was a spring. Spring was from 3 to 8 on Friday. I got the email. So that's when we all celebrated spring in Chicago. We went outside, tossed the ball around, then you get the fuck back inside because we got 18 months of winter coming up right after. Went to a Cubs game. That was a little breezy. That was fun. I won't recap anything. I'll recap shit later because let's see what's the time at. Hold on. Oh my God. How do these shows get away from me? Why? Because I babble. I need to hit some. That's construction sound. That's a 2 seasons in Chicago, winter and construction. Oh man, alive. Anyway, so we gave out a bomb there. I'm just looking at these. Oh man, there was UFC music I could have played. Wait, that's UFC music? I could have played that when I talked about someone's child being mocked. It's perfect child mocking music. All right, let me get into the last bomb, then I do a quick man in the box, and then we got to get out of here. And then if you're watching live on YouTube, stay tuned because I'm doing an XFL show after this with Colby Dant and J Mark Football. It's a fun show. It is. I kind of like the XFL. I'm going to get into it. But subscribe to that too, the XFL Gambling Podcast. It's actually a fun show. Actually, I say actually. People say actually a lot, and it's very insulting. You're actually funny too. I get that a lot on the road, especially because I'm opening for TJ Miller. Oh, by the way, you're also something that I saw. Anyway, the last game is what? Pelicans Thunder. Another 5.5. That's the 9-10 out west. Thunder, no one thought was going to be in the playoffs. They gave away everything, traded every blah, blah, blah. But they cared. Unlike the Mavericks. Like, fuck it. Let's care a little bit. The Pelicans, I don't get this team at all. They were almost a 5 seed like a week ago. Now they're in the play-in game. Yeah, I watched them play, and it takes them a miracle for them to get good. They hit like every 3. Zion Williamson's been out with a hamstring for for 8 years, it seems like. How long is this ridiculous light injury? What goes on in New Orleans? Is it some kind of voodoo thing that goes on in New Orleans? Like Chris Paul wanted out of there. He got out. He got traded. Like, nah, you can't go to the Lakers. All right, where can he go? Clippers, fine. Anthony Davis, get me out of here. And they're like in the playoffs. And DeMarcus Cousins, remember, they're doing good. But something's with New Orleans in basketball. They just they can't stand Zion. He's going to get out of there. And it's a great city. But it is in ruins. It's also weird. Very voodoo. Love New Orleans. Incredible city. But for some reason, they just don't. Something just goes on there with the NBA basketball. I mean, it's a jumping place. It'll be a loud, live place. But Zion Williams, it's just so weird. They have these stars that just don't want to play there. And they sit out the entire time. Zion sitting out is becoming weird. It's just becoming weird. It is assume, he still got that hamstring. What do you mean he still got that hamstring? Well, what goes on with it? Is he stretching it? I don't know. We haven't really checked on him. You haven't checked on him. He's the fucking franchise player. Anthony Davis was hilarious. Remember when they asked him, like, what are you going to do with the New Orleans fans? I'll just put something up on Instagram or take an ad out, like those guys. Thank kids. That's what I'll do. And then he did. And then he said the out loud part, and then he actually did it. Oh man, whatever. I'm getting away from myself. I gotta move. I gotta move fast. Anyway, my other logic on this is the one and done. Play out. OKC plays tough. They got killed Christ. They had Alexander 30 points a game. No one even talks about him. So, and I think this Pelican team is a fraud, and they would love to go, but there's just some kind of voodoo curse on them. So I'm going to take OKC plus 5.5 on that, and sprinkle money line 185. OKC in the voodoo lounge of New Orleans. Bomb it. So real quick to recap the NBA play-in Frank dress rehearsal tournament. 4 bombs we gave out. Miami minus 4.5. Lakers minus 7. Chicago plus 5.5. OKC plus 5.5. Sprinkle on 185. Money line on both those dogs. So 2 favorites, 2 dogs. Not too bad. All right. Now let's lock it in. All right. Like I said, I was in Chicago this weekend. Welcome to the Man in the Box as I lock in tight. Then I got to clip up. I never know what I want to talk about there because there's so many things I could vent about. I've been talking about the plane too much because I've been traveling a lot. Like each weekend I've been traveling. And also next weekend I'll be in Spokane, Washington, the Spokane Comedy Club. Again, TJ. Friday and Saturday night. This Friday and Saturday night. So if you're in Upper Northwest, come out to Spokane, Washington. Say hi to the Man in the Box. That's me. Flew back from Chicago yesterday on Easter. Had not poor man's first class of no seats, but I did have the middle seat empty. So it was me and a guy in the window. I was in the aisle. The guy was he was behind me first. He was in the wrong seat. And then when he was told he was in my row, he'd launched his book bag over the fucking chair, like launches it. It hit down hard, like he was throwing it over a wall, like a bank getaway, like throwing a money bag over a brick wall, and it bounced and hit the thing, whatever. He didn't even check to see if there was someone there. But he was chatty with the guy in front of him, like, oh man, this is gonna be bad if he's chatty. But he wasn't. He's kind of weird chatty. So I'm like, we'll see. We took off. Luckily, he drifted off to sleep. So not a lot of chattiness. But towards the end of the flight, it was a quick flight, 3.5 hours, very fast. Pilot goes, hey, everyone to the right side of the plane, which was us on the right side of the plane. If you look out your window, you'll see the Grand Canyon, an amazing visual of the Grand Canyon. Everyone starts rushing over to the right side of the plane. But people on the left are rushing over, opening the windows. Obviously, every window, everyone's looking at the Grand Canyon. People pay, $200 helicopter tours for this view. Everyone except for my guy who has the window shut and he's awake and he's watching Law and Order on his laptop. Law and Order, a show that's on TV all of the time, everywhere. There's nowhere in the world where you can go and not see Law and Order. This guy wouldn't open his visor to look at the Grand Canyon, so I could look at the Grand Canyon. We're above the clouds. We're in the sky. Can we not watch content for half a second and look at one of the great marvels of the world? It was such an amazing view. He even like took his headphones out for a second. But what's going on? I'm like, Grand Canyon. I point at the window. Grand Canyon goes, oh, and puts them right back and starts watching Law and Order again. Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's one Man in the Box. I don't know what to talk about. As far as shows goes. I don't want to talk about Succession. Although there was a big spoiler. Although there is a spoiler alert thing. Succession, if you're not. I won't do it. But let's just say people have no problem spoiling Succession. I'll say that. And because they're very Karen and white about it. Because Succession's a very white show. And they're like, well, if you are watching live on your HBO Max and I don't know what to tell you. The LA Times had a huge mock spoiler. I won't even get into it. I will get in to the outrage over Lizzo and Jack Black and The Mandalorian. I'll say this. So there's a Mandalorian. There's a clip of Lizzo and Jack. It looked terrible, by the way. They're like playing some game with Baby Yoda. Whatever. I don't care. I don't really get into the new stuff, the Star Wars stuff. Star Wars, to me, they gave you a chance to check out. They're like Pearl Jam with their albums. Like after that fourth album, Pearl Jam's like, all right, if you don't check out now, then we're gonna make you buy all our live albums. That's just the way it's gonna be. And that's the way Star Wars was. Like, okay, if you're not out of here after the prequels and then a couple of these, then forget it. You're locked in. We're gonna do insane different universes and shows. And you're gonna have to watch them all. So they gave you an option to leave, and I did. I left Star Wars, and I do not feel guilty about it. I'm sure Mandalorian's good. Everyone says it is. I'm sure it is. I don't care. So now they're like, but so when they show clips of like Lizzo and Jack Black being bad in it, and like, what is the show even about? And I saw this guy post, it's not for nerds anymore. These are the bullies that threw us in lockers. Lizzo didn't throw anyone in a locker. What are you talking about? But I love that whole thing. It's not for nerds anymore. What? Oh, did they find out about Star Wars? That independent little engine that could? That was on every fucking lunch box and bed sheets. That's all it is marketing. Not for nerds anymore. Yes, it is. You just don't know what nerds are anymore. It's different kind of nerds. But yeah, you don't dream up of growing up about Mandalorian out of saying that. Like, whatever. I love Star Wars as a kid. Who didn't? But then you bail out. It's just like the wrestling. I've been getting shit for that, for the wrestling thing, by the way. And I don't hate on people that like wrestling. It's just like, whatever. Why so flagrant in my face about it? And I was a kid, and I loved the evil wrestlers. And I love the evil Star Wars. I love Darth Vader. I hated Luke Skywalker. Now I see something like how it was an easy morality test as a kid. That people like making fun of people for that. I don't get it. I couldn't comprehend people that liked Luke Skywalker. He was like a bitch. Darth Vader was fucking cool. I always loved it. I was Darth Vader 2 years in a row for Halloween. I was a real small kid. And I wanted to be a third year in a row. My mom wouldn't let me. So that's enough of being this evil dark lord. Well, I have a black heart. What do you want from me? But yeah, Luke Skywalker, I just didn't get. Why would you side with him? He sucked. Obi-Wan. All right, if I want to go on the good side, I'll go with Obi-Wan at least. At least Obi-Wan is cool. Yeah, I get you want to do good things, which I didn't get. I still don't get that. But at least Obi-Wan does cool things. Luke fucking sucked. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is Star Wars is not for nerds anymore now that Jack Black and Lizzo got in there. Hilarious. The ownership of things too. And that's like the nerd outrage. The comeback when they would be mad at George Lucas for making the prequels terrible. And they were terrible, by the way. But so what? They don't owe you shit. You ruined my child. Fuck you. I gave you free entertainment. If I was George Lucas, that's all I would say. And I'm a billionaire. But like, I gave you free entertainment. What do you mean? I ruined your... Grow up. You are incorrect with that opinion. Anyway, let me see what we got going on here. I have nothing really to complain about. That is going to do it for... I am CJ Sullivan. This is the Bottom Line Bombs. I gave out 4 bombs. Good luck with those picks. I'll be back Wednesday at noon again on Pacific to do a more NBA bomb play preview, bomb stat nations, and other things like that. Good luck with these games. Make sure to subscribe to the Bottom Line Bombs podcast on Spotify or iTunes. Give a 5-star review or a 1-star. I don't care. Make a comment, make a review. I prefer 5 stars. But subscribe. And to YouTube. Subscribe to that. Go to the merch store. Do all those things. Follow me on the handles. CJ Sullivan. At CJ Sullivan _ on Twitter. On Instagram. That's a fun one. At CJ Sullivan was taken. underscores in between all the words. CJ Sullivan was taken. Other than that, yeah. Bottom line bombs. I'll see you on Wednesday again. Thank you and good.